Decorated U.S. soldier under arrest accused of pledging his allegiance to ISIS, even helping terrorists or trying to help terrorists buy a drone. Our next guest has been warning about the dangers of drones in terrorist hands, how they can be used. Joining us now, former Special Ops Intel analyst and author of the book right here, Drone Warrior and Elite Soldiers' Inside Account of the Hunt for America's Most Dangerous Enemies, Brett Velicovich. Thanks so much for coming on this morning, Brett.
Hey, good morning, Rob.
Okay, so this, I think, scared a lot of people. You had this Hawaiian soldier, an active duty soldier, somebody currently in the military, pledging allegiance to ISIS. This is the first time something like this has ever happened, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've really learned a lot about U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Kang's motivations and intent to provide material support to ISIS just in the last 24 hours. We've learned that as of early as 2011, he may have even become radicalized when he shortly after lost his security clearance for basically making pro-ISIS statements and also threatening to kill U.S. soldiers around him. We also learned that he looked to provide, and he actually went about providing documents to undercover agents that he believed to be members of the ISIS group. And then finally, we also learned that he purchased a GoPro Karma drone with the intent of teaching ISIS members how to use it to escape U.S. tank attacks overseas and essentially use it as a surveillance capability to help them understand where coalition forces were located. And finally, the FBI said, you know, enough's enough when he pledged allegiance to ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and at the same time essentially said he wanted to take his rifle and a bunch of magazines and go and hurt people around him. And so that occurred as early as July.
Good God. I mean, it's just scary to think that people like this are in the military. I think there's a lot of speculation that this young man, Sergeant Kang, may have had some kind of mental issues, and I think we're going to figure out more about that here in the future.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that's one of the things I think there's this larger issue here that we have to absolutely look at is how did one of our own become corrupted and radicalized to the point that he would look to commit treason against our country? And I think this is the first of its kind where we've seen a U.S. soldier that's been charged with a material support to ISIS. And we really have to look at, especially military leaders, study what interactions took place with this guy either overseas during his combat deployments or even back home that would corrupt his mind in a way to want to hurt U.S. troops.
Or maybe he's just, you know, gone crazy. It could be that as well. You said his clearance was revoked in 2012 after making pro-ISIS statements, which makes perfect sense. And then it was reinstated in 2016. These are the things that just make my head explode. How on earth could that happen?
You know, it's a great question. I mean, that's something that I've been thinking about also the last few days is how did he get his security clearance reinstated after he was making these threats? But I got to tell you, you know, the Army Criminal Division, the FBI, they were all over this guy. You know, this investigation had been taking place for at least 1 year. And so even though his security clearance was reinstated and it gave him access to classified data, it looks like right away the Criminal Division essentially said, hey, we got to do something about this, and we got to really understand, like, what is his intent? Is this just talk or is it action?
It could have been the trick to lure him in to do something so that they could catch him at the end of the day. You know, maybe they needed hard evidence to get him out of there, and they said, all right, let's open him up, keep an eye on him, and then pull him out. All right, thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We do appreciate it.